Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Top Podcast. I'm your host, Rob, and joining with me is Lou.
Hello.
It is with heavy hearts that we are to say that Mike tried drinking a gallon of eggnog and has been in the bathroom ever since. So we'll see if he is able to come out between dry heaves and talk to us. But right now we have a guest. You've heard him talked about throughout the podcast. He animates, he does movies, he scares Lucian sometimes playing poker. He's a man of many different abilities and trades. He is Mike's cousin, friend, and editor of the podcast. He helps us with a lot of audio work. Jacob.
Hey, everybody. Lou, I'm still feeling bad about scaring you. You guys explained later on, I am hard of hearing. So I have a tendency to talk loud, especially if people who don't know me hear me talking loud. They don't know and don't know to tell me I'm talking too loud. And then I'll just keep going and going and going like I'm on an angry rant when really I just can't hear my own volume.
You've treated me good throughout the years. You were pushing coffee on me and helping me out through tough times. I've only appreciated you. I just didn't know you were deaf, so I didn't understand why you were yelling. But I value you as a person.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, I forgot that you were part of the now defunct Black Aprons, right, for Starbucks?
They are back, I believe, but I don't think they're called what they used to be called.
So what is that again? It's like you went overseas and like trained in the ways of the coffee bean or something?
No. That would have been fun. No, Starbucks doesn't do fun things. No, they gave me a book and a CD and said, read this, watch this, learn about it. And then if you answer some questions and pass a test at the end, we'll call you a coffee master and say you're certified.
Bam. That's more.
So I'm a certified coffee master, and because they discontinued the program and changed it, my certification never actually expired. So I guess technically I'm still a certified coffee master.
It's true. We'll have to send you some G3 coffee beans and let you give you your certified opinion on those.
Hey, I opened a Twitter account today just to enter that contest.
Thank you. By now you would have already be listening to it. So Merry Christmas, everyone. This comes out on Christmas Day. I'll be doing the giveaway and we'll announce the winner there. But yeah, since it is Christmas, one of the major traditions with friend groups is white elephants. Have you guys done white elephants before?
Oh, absolutely.
So the question this week for an icebreaker is, where is the best place to buy white elephants? Where's your go-to spot? And I'm talking about like things you would actually, not just like trash, because I don't like those people that just like pick up random crap off their floor and throw it in a bag and call it a gift. But like when I do white elephants, I want to be able to, I want to get something that I wouldn't mind taking home. So what's like a real gift? And I'll start off, for me, it's Salvation Army. That's my first place to go to. You never know what amazing stuff you can find there. You can get some cool t-shirts. Or we found these mason jars that had like a wine glass stem, like it was glued to it or some way. So it's just really janky redneck looking things, but they're like 50 cents each. So me and my wife got some for our kitchen, and it's just, you never know what you're going to find in Salvation Army. So for me, that's always the first place I go to.
Yeah, I don't want to copy you or anything, but that was going to be my answer as well. This year, though, I brought one of my wife's original paintings as a white elephant gift. I think that's a pretty cool thing I did.
That's cool.
For me, right down the street in Livonia, we have this place called the Town Peddler Craft and Antique Mall. It's every kind of weird tchotchke you could possibly think of. And the farther back into the store you go, the less the organization structure makes sense. So you can go in there, get lost, and find just the most bizarre, random things. I think my favorite one year was a 3D printed octopus with The Rock's head on it called Rocktopus.
Yeah. I think I've seen those online. You found one?
Yeah, they were just selling it in this antique mall.
I don't know if that counts as an antique, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it an antique myself either. And I think antique's a stretch for this place. But I don't know how else to describe it. It's just mountains of the most bizarre things you'll ever see.
And Lou, you've been there before? Like, it sounded like you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, so is it, are there street names? Are there like how it's organized. It's like
I think it's on
they have,
Plymouth. Oh yeah, yeah.
know,
Oh, I get what you're asking. Yes, I do believe
Yeah.
it was organized by street names.
Yeah, so you go into there, and it's so big that they list all the aisleways as streets. So my church, we had a scavenger hunt, and one of the clues was in that store. And I've never seen so many old ladies freak out when like a bunch of people rush that place all at once. I almost thought they were going to call the cops on us. It was crazy.
I mean, they've probably never seen it before. Another question. Do you guys feel like you're in the Christmas spirit? Has it hit you yet? Or has it kind of died down from when you were a kid? Or what are you guys feeling right now?
Oh, dude. I'm always excited for Christmas to get here. I'm a huge Christmas fan. I love the movies, the music, the atmosphere, the aesthetic of it. So I am absolutely in the Christmas spirit right now.
Do you ever go to the movies on Christmas?
One time I went to the theater at Christmas. Like, I think going to the movies could be fun if the right thing's out and you got the right group of people.
It's true.
This year I don't see anything worth going to go see. I think Aquaman comes out Christmas weekend. So if you want to go see that.
Yeah, I think I've seen like 3 movies in the theater this year, maybe 4. It's been kind of a down year for me for movies.
It's been a down year for movies in general.
That's true.
The whole strike kind of killed the momentum. I was excited for Dune.
I'm kind of glad it was pushed back because I just started picking up and I read it like halfway, moved to North Dakota, and then I just put it down. So I went to Barnes & Noble.
You got the book?
Yeah, I got the book.
Oh, great book.
I went to Barnes & Noble a couple weeks ago, and there was this really nice hardcover, and I'm a sucker for nice hardcover. So I'm like, I already have the cheap paperback, but I want this. So I bought it, and I'm starting to read it again. Hopefully I'll be done by the time the movie comes out. But I did see the first half of the movie, which was just past where I got before I left off, or just after where I left off. So I didn't really spoil too much. But yeah, I thought the first movie was great.
Book's great too. And yeah, I thought the movie was excellent. I even like the original. A lot of people think it's not the greatest. But without that first Dune movie, we wouldn't have a lot of the special effects we have today.
Lou, are you in the Christmas spirit?
Yeah, honestly, yeah, kind of. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel like Christmas, as you get older, it starts to feel more like a chore than it is like a time of like giving and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I recently, today, I went to the coffee shop. I gave one of the coffee baristas like a pretty big tip, and I felt really, really good. So that kind of put me kind of in the Christmas spirit, like giving. But yeah, it just feels like now that I'm like, now I feel like I'm doing a lot more in church and just like for other people. Sometimes it just feels stressful.
Yeah, I get that. I feel like I haven't felt like the quote unquote Christmas spirit in a while. I feel like that's part of growing up. It's like as a kid, obviously you love it because you're getting stuff. And then like right now, it's just me and my wife. We don't have like all of our family around there. So I feel like that's half the fun of when you're an adult is, going and hanging out with family. And then I feel like the next step on the Christmas spirit thing is like when you have kids or, a young, I guess you could even
Right.
like nieces and nephews, but like when you're starting to give them gifts and like, I feel like that's the next step in the Christmas journey. And I'm just like, me and my wife are nowhere close to that. So she loves Christmas. She's in the Christmas mood. I'm just like, I kind of forced myself to listen to the Christmas music today just to kind of get in the mindset for the podcast.
Yeah. Yeah. I crocheted quite a bit of gifts this year. I crocheted a whale. I crocheted 2 hats for my sister and her boyfriend. So I'm looking forward to giving them their gifts. I think then it'll kind of put me better in the Christmas spirit. Because I've never been one to make handmade gifts for somebody. And so this is the first year I'm really doing that.
All right. So for this Christmas episode, we kind of have a menagerie of things. And our first one is going to be, what is your favorite Christmas movie? And I'll start off first. And for me, it is the 1946 classic, It's a Wonderful Life.
No. Look, Joe. Now look, I want a big one. That's what she said.
Have you guys seen it?
Oh,
Wow,
absolutely.
that's old school.
Yeah.
I have not seen it. I've heard about it though.
Yeah, it's obviously it is super old school. Like my grandpa would have seen it when it came out. But it's so it was originally in black and white, but you can find colorized versions of it now. It's kind of weird because it's not overtly a Christmas story. It just kind of happens on Christmas, but really you only ever watch it during the Christmas season, which is kind of what I consider a Christmas movie. Like if someone said, you want to watch It's a Wonderful Life, and it was May, I'd be like, no, that's stupid. It's just a great film. Basically, it deals with this guy. He's going through hard times and all that, and he kind of he thinks like his life is worthless and that, it'd be better off if he just died. And he struggles with like some mental health stuff and depression and all that. And it really just kind of lets you take a step back and see that like, hey, even though he didn't go and achieve all the dreams that he wanted, like without him, the community around him would have just like crushed and been nothing. And like, even though he had these big dreams and he felt like he was a failure, what he did for his community has made like his life worth it. One thing, I was kind of reading some Reddit comments and seeing what other people think. I just think this quote really sets it up. It's a Wonderful Life is a story of an ordinary man who resented himself, coming to realize that he did okay after all. And I just think that's a great thing to see. Even the little things you do in your life can affect other people, and it builds them up and everything. And it's a very heartwarming story. It's gut-wrenching, make you cry at times. And I think it does a really good job, especially for the 1940s.
It's a great answer. I love It's a Wonderful Life too. We watch that every year as we hang our tree. That's one of our consistent Christmas traditions. Great movie.
So Jacob, you're up next if you want to let us know what your favorite Christmas movie is.
You already touched on it a second ago, Rob. My favorite Christmas movie is Die Hard.
It's Christmas Eve in L.A., California.
Is Daddy coming home this year? Well, we'll see what Santa and Mommy can do, okay?
Is it? I had a feeling.
Is Die Hard a Christmas movie? I say yes, and I'm happy to defend that.
What's your number one argument for why it's a Christmas movie?
All right, so everyone thinks Home Alone's a Christmas movie, and I agree. And Home Alone is about someone who wants to be with their family at Christmas and stops robbers. Die Hard is a movie about a guy who wants to be with his family at Christmas and stops robbers.
It's fair.
Yeah, I mean, you're not going to hear any pushback from me.
It takes place at Christmas. Christmas is actually a vital component of the story. He's going there for a Christmas party. He's going to be with his family at Christmas. There's constantly Christmas music throughout the movie. There's all sorts of references to the fact that it's Christmas. I say it's a Christmas movie.
Why do you say it beats out the other, like, more traditional Christmas movies?
Because it's so different from other Christmas movies, right? You got so many traditional ones. This one kind of stands apart as its own unique blend of action and Christmas. And then until Violent Night came out, which was another, I hope, Christmas classic, there really weren't a lot of movies like it. And the director set it at Christmas, knowing that because he did that, it would be shown at Christmas. At the end of every year, when it's airing on all television stations, we would get to see it at Christmas, and they'd get a nice bonus check at the end of the year from all the airings.
That's fair. That's fair. Mike, are you finally pulled yourself away from the toilet?
That was the longest experience of my life.
We're talking about our favorite Christmas movies, our top Christmas movie right now. Jacob, I said It's a Wonderful Life. Jacob is telling us why Die Hard is, in fact, a Christmas movie.
I suspected as much.
I didn't get any debate from you guys, so I guess I'm not really having to fight for my opinion hard. But my main argument, Mike, was that if Home Alone's a Christmas movie, then Die Hard is also a Christmas movie.
Honestly, that's not a bad way to approach it. I've always felt, I think this was your argument, or I heard it from you first, Jacob, that the marketing for Die Hard is just that, like, there's no conversation to be had after that.
Well, yeah.
Because it was marketed as a Christmas movie, right?
Well, yes and no. The studio itself has produced Christmas commercials afterwards, declaring it the best Christmas movie ever made. If you go on YouTube and look up Die Hard Christmas commercial, 20th Century Fox has made a Christmas-specific commercial for the movie, really honing in on the Christmas elements in the film. So yes, it's advertised as a Christmas movie.
Yeah.
I got the special Christmas edition box cover of the movie when I got it physically. So they're selling it as Christmas merchandise. And if nothing else, we have an argument every year, we being the world as a whole, about whether or not Die Hard's a Christmas movie. That by itself has become a Christmas tradition, making Die Hard an annual part of our Christmas experience.
That's
it right
actually,
there.
That's super meta, which means I like it.
I've actually never seen Die Hard, so that's why I can't, go into this fight. I usually will pick whatever side has the least support and then side with them whenever I'm talking with people in real life.
It's hilarious. I heard an argument about it once in a different podcast where somebody broke down the numbers, like how many Christmas trees, how many times do you see Santa, how many gifts, and the Christmas imagery in Die Hard outstrips almost any other classic Christmas movie you can think of, which is also, I think, a pretty strong argument.
There is so much Christmas music in that movie. I just went and saw it on the big screen for its 35th anniversary, and I was keeping track of songs specifically, and there are just so many.
Yeah, like I think it has all the markers of things you'd find in a Christmas movie. Like I'd be willing to bet you could put down all the stats and then give people blinds, like pick out which of these are Christmas movies, and I bet you a bunch of people would pick Die Hard.
Yeah, probably outshine a lot of them. I'm sure.
Right? That people would be like, well, that's clearly the Christmas movie.
Mike, you want to tell us what your favorite one is? Your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie. It's so hard. 1 and 2, you could go either direction, but if Jacob went Die Hard, I'll just go for variety and say Elf.
That was my number 2.
Yeah, I could watch Elf any day of the year and not have a problem with it. It is hysterically funny. The cast is absolutely stacked. The concept it's got that brilliant simplicity that you need in a Christmas movie. Endlessly quotable.
And what can I get you for Christmas?
Don't tell him what you want. He's a liar.
Let the kid talk.
You disgust me. How can you live with yourself?
Just cool it, Zippy.
You sit on a throne of lies.
And it also just kind of makes you feel good. It's everything you want from a Christmas time movie. You know, I think it's the perfect package. And it's like the only thing I like Will Ferrell in. I have not been overly impressed with almost anything he's been in besides Elf. I love Elf. Oh, and Anchorman's great.
I was about to say, you're a huge Anchorman fan.
Those are the two.
Yeah, it took me the longest time to realize that the love interest was Zooey Deschanel.
Yeah, dude, you
just
could
the
miss
blonde
that
threw me
without.
off.
Yeah, it's so weird. I had
Mike,
probably
have you
seen
seen-
all of New Girl twice before I put it together that was Zooey Deschanel.
Mike, have you seen the episode of Movies That Made Us or Elf on Netflix?
I don't think so. No, I been on Netflix in a minute, so it definitely hasn't popped up in a suggested feed or anything. Because I think I saw the Die Hard and the Home Alone one, and that was about it.
Oh, dude, the Elf one's fantastic. You learn so many ways that Will Ferrell was just pissing people off in the most hilarious way. You know that one part where he asks to be tucked in?
Was that ad-libbed?
Yeah.
So that was him just ad-libbing it. So when James Caan, the guy playing his dad, gets pissed, he's actually livid at Will Ferrell. That was not in the script.
That's amazing. Well, and also the whole sequence where he's running around New York, just being weird and experiencing New York. I'm pretty sure they just set up cameras and were like, go, be yourself. And it was all just really completely ad-lib and just Will Ferrell being Will Ferrell.
How did no one recognize him? Because he was still a big name when that Elf came out.
My guess is, it's New York. People are used to crazy stuff going on. And I'll bet you there were a ton of people who recognized him, and that's just footage they used.
Yeah, that's fair.
If I were to guess.
You know, people aren't looking for celebrities out on the street. Henry Cavill went and stood in Times Square under a poster for Superman, and no one recognized him. So
that's fair.
Was he wearing glasses?
Oh,
I don't believe so. I think he was wearing a suit at the time.
Oh, that's amazing.
How often do you expect to see Will Ferrell dressed as an elf?
Every day of my life,
Just
I'm looking for it.
You're looking for him?
Yep.
It's good to see.
Out on the oil field, I'm like, where's Buddy?
Rob, if you're ever in a field and you see a man in an elf costume walking towards you, I suggest you get out of that.
Yeah.
I'd be more nervous to see that than like a clown.
Ooh.
Depends on the time of year.
That's a good question. Well, isn't it always Christmas in North Dakota?
Not in the summer. Then it's scorching hot. Lou, what's your favorite Christmas movie?
My favorite Christmas movie. I don't know which one I want to pick. Okay, let's do. I think since we're all on the same kind of vibe, with is it a Christmas movie? Is it not a Christmas movie? Home Alone 2 for me.
Ooh,
It's home like crazy.
classic.
I love it. I've always been a big. So I grew up watching Jackass. I was gonna say Donald Trump was in there, yeah. But yeah, I've always been a big Jackass fan. So I love seeing people get hurt. I don't know what is about me. I think it's just like my sinful nature that I need to pray about every single day. I even in the past, if you listen to the podcast, you know that I loved when the stomp great lady, she fell. Even at a very young age, I've been a huge fan. And so Home Alone 2 really ticks the boxes for me.
More than the first
I love
one.
how the stunts get just way crazier compared to the first one to the second one. It's like it went from a house to a whole building. I love it. Yeah, some of my favorite ones are the nail gun. Where Kevin attached the handle of a door to a nail gun, to a rope to a nail gun. And the guy kept pulling the rope as he was pulling the knob, and it was attached to a nail gun, and it got him in his nuts. And as a child,
Forgot about that.
I couldn't stop. I could not stop laughing.
Classic
I love
comedy, though.
the fire rope where they're climbing up the rope and he sets the thing on fire.
It smells like kerosene.
That's hilarious. Yeah. And this is the classic bag of tools that just completely gets unzipped. It just crashes right in the dude's head.
Mm-hmm.
And the fact that I was younger, I didn't know who Joe Pesci was. To see that from him being like a mobster who's just like inking dudes, to just being the silly old robber who's just getting destroyed by a child. I think it's funny. I like to pretend that in the character he's also a mobster and he's just getting destroyed by a child.
And he's just like a bad mobster.
And he's just like he just like ruined the wrong. He just got kicked out of the mafia and now he's just like robbing and stealing things with a big old lengthy curlier guy.
Mike, have you heard the fan theory that Kevin grows up to become Jigsaw?
I've heard it. I haven't
What now?
explored it that thoroughly, but I get it.
It's wild.
I mean,
Well, the theory
I
is
guess. I can see.
Kevin got a taste for blood, making traps for the robbers, and just kept getting more and more elaborate until we eventually get to the days that the movies Saw are set in, and he becomes Jigsaw.
There's about a 30-year age difference I think you have to account for.
Yeah, I was say that
but,
like the age gap is too big for that.
But I do love the idea. I wish it were true.
Yeah, it's wild. I have nothing to say about that.
Have you seen the
Just
Saw
insane.
movies?
Me?
Yeah.
Me? I've seen the first one.
I mean, if you think people getting hurt is funny, you'd probably love Saw.
A little bit different, They get up, Yeah, I've seen a lot of them. I would not show my children them, though. They're wild. There's one that really scarred, and I don't know which one it was though.
Do you remember what the trap was?
Yeah, the drug lady had to jump into the needles.
Oh,
number 2.
Jesus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
That one is easily one of the worst. Like, there are so many more brutal things that happen in that series, but that needle pit, man.
Also, like the fact that he pushed her into it too, and they could have all survived if they would just work together, but they didn't. That kind of thing.
Yeah, especially
Right.
the twist with her at the end, and it's just like, man, sucks for her.
Right.
Well, Mike, since you're back and this is technically your week, I'll let you carry on your hosting abilities if you're in a good spot for that. I don't know if you're still riding in the car.
Yeah, no, I am. No, I'm home. I'm at the screen. I'm sure my tummy will feel better for the rest of the show. After Christmas movies, we're going to do our favorite Christmas presents. This is a tough one for me because I'm trying to balance between how excited I was when I got the gift versus which do I look back on more fondly ultimately. And I think that's where I'm going to go. So I would have been pre-8th grade. So I think it was middle school. So probably the Christmas of 6th grade. I told everybody who asked what I wanted for Christmas I don't get me a present. I want a GameCube. I know nobody's going to buy me a GameCube. Just give me money and I will buy a GameCube. And my birthday's in December. And so between my birthday and Christmas, I got enough to buy the GameCube with the Mario Kart Double Dash pack-in and a Game Boy player. I did not have enough money to buy a memory card. So we played the base courses of Mario Kart Double Dash a lot. And I played a lot of Game Boy games. And then eventually I saved up and got a memory card. And that's when things really took off. But yeah, I still love playing GameCube. It's one of my favorite consoles of all time. And Double Dash is my Mario Kart. And yeah, it's just that was a great Christmas. Fine, like my parents were the type where they were like, okay, we'll let you buy the GameCube early, but you can't play it until Christmas morning. And so I got the excitement of getting up Christmas morning, and instead of opening my gift, I just hit play. And yeah, it's definitely the purple GameCube, the classic color one.
I love GameCube. It was, I think, underrated.
Oh, 100%.
I am a huge GameCube fan. That would have been my number 2. Would have been getting a GameCube Christmas Day. That was a combined present to me and my brother.
Did they have a clear one, like a see-through?
I know the 64 had that. The 64 had that, and it looked sick.
Yeah,
and it came in like a million different colors. I think the 64 has the most variants out of any console. Period.
Probably.
They definitely made
I think
clear
that's what I'm thinking of.
Boys, because I had a clear Game Boy.
Yeah, I had the clear purple Game Boy. That one was super cool.
I was thinking I was like looking it up, having our intern look it up, and I see that they have like a clear gaming controller. And there's some custom stuff. So I don't know if that's on brand or not.
I didn't have the clear controller, but it was only clear on the back. It was like normal purple on the top and then a clear back, so you could see all the buttons and workings when you flipped it over.
Man, that C-stick, man. Oh, good times.
The one weak point of the system.
Not if you're playing Smash.
Well, sure.
I personally, I'm a big fan of the C-stick.
My favorite Christmas present was actually a trip that my family took us on. One year, instead of presents, we did a incredible trip to Hawaii, and so many great memories and experiences there. Highlight would have been a helicopter tour around the islands, flying through a rainbow that actually become rings once you get higher up. And that was an incredible.
Yeah, that kicks my GameCube's ass.
I don't think any of us would have thought that.
Yeah, no.
So Christmas in Hawaii, we went to a luau. It was a really incredible once-in-a-lifetime experience.
Well, thank you for listening to this week's episode of The Top Note. Nothing else we can say.
Once we start getting sponsors, we'll have our own trip.
There we go.
Don't worry, guys.
Man, that sounds so good. But did it snow?
There was no snow.
Not Christmas.
Christmas is ruined.
But it's like the song says, here we know that Christmas will be green and bright. So
that's fair.
It was a wonderful trip. And Rob, you guys talked about movies at Christmas time. One day we did a trip hiking some mountains, and we were just exhausted after. So we were saying, well, we can go back and relax at the hotel, but if we're just going to be chilling out, why don't we go see a movie? Star Wars Episode 7 had just come out that weekend, so we went and saw Star Wars Episode 7 in Hawaii, and that was when Disney still made good Star Wars
back
movies.
when we had hope.
And it was a great experience and a great moment to relax and still have a blast on the Hawaii trip.
Okay, so this is a bit of a Star Wars tangent, but I was thinking about this when I was recording Long Distance Situationship with Kyle last night. If Kylo Ren can stop a laser beam with his hand, could he bend a lightsaber beam with the Force?
I don't think so. He doesn't bend the bolt; he just stops it.
To answer your Star Wars tangent, Mike, in I think the Obi-Wan show, Darth Vader does the same thing Kylo Ren did, but with a lightsaber. And
He
it
just
doesn't
stops
bend.
it.
He just stops it from moving closer to him.
There's like the
Okay.
one good scene in that whole TV show.
I was just thinking about that. I was like, could you imagine you're in one of those, like, our lightsabers are pressed together and we're pushing back and forth. Then the other dude just like bends his lightsaber around and just cuts your hand off. It'd be unstoppable. It also looks stupid, but
there's also like back in Star Wars lore, some people had adjustable lightsabers, so they could like adjust the length, and like that would have been OP like, if you were like in a lock and just made it longer and like stabbed them that way. But anyways,
right.
We're talking about Christmas, not Star Wars, unless it's the Star Wars holiday special. But we're not talking about that, I don't think.
Can I change my number one Christmas movie?
Too late, we're past it. One day I'd like to go to Hawaii, but it's just so dang expensive.
It is.
Lou, do you want to go next? Or do you want me to?
Sure, I can go next. My number one Christmas gift, which I honestly was looking at the picture of it right now, and I don't know if this is a Christmas gift or not. This happened a long time ago, but I'm looking at the picture, and my house does not look very Christmassy in the picture. But I'm going to shoot for it. It's my truth, and you guys can't tell me otherwise. It's the 2003 Donkey Konga video game for the
With
Game
the
Boy.
bongos?
With the bongos.
Wow. I remember
Yeah.
that.
There has been just, because a lot of people have given me Christmas gifts since then. I think I was like, I don't know, in like third grade. So not the best Christmas present I've ever received, just in case a wife is listening and is feeling some type of way. But it is, I do remember being absolutely geeked out when I unwrapped it. And there's photographic evidence of me geeking out with my grandfather being like, what the hell is wrong with this kid? I grew up, I loved drums. My father was in a band. And so I always loved the rhythm. The Donkey Kong game, if you don't know, it's a rhythm game, kind of like Guitar Hero before Guitar Hero was a thing. And instead of with guitar, it came with bongos. And you had to follow, just like Guitar Hero, you had to follow the beat. And I used it so much that I wore out the rubber on top of the bongo. So,
Okay.
Whoa.
I was, best believe I didn't wear it completely out, but there was definitely marks. I smacked the mess out of the thing. Yeah, it was a good time. My favorite was, I had a lot of favorite songs, but my favorite was Louie Louie. It was the Louie Louie, and then there was like a clapping
You
part
mean Pharaoh?
that would register.
Pharaoh, bababy, yeah.
Yeah. So there was a clapping part that would register for the bongo, and I thought at the time that was like pretty interesting.
It was peak gaming.
Looking back at it, yeah, that was absolute peak gaming. I was a sweat. Yeah, it was a
You
good time.
still have the bongos?
No, I didn't keep anything. Everything that I've had has been destroyed. I have not been able to keep anything. My guitar from Guitar Hero was destroyed. The whammy bar was gone. I grew up a poor kid, so I didn't really appreciate anything that was given to me.
I never played the DK bongo one. I always wanted to, but I always loved the Mario DDR they made.
Hey,
What's
that
that?
was a good time.
It was Dance Dance Revolution, but Mario. So it was like all Mario characters.
yes, man.
Yeah,
Very cool.
and I
I
think
think
it's
it's
worth
one of
a pretty penny now.
Yeah, I think that's
Imagine.
one of the most expensive GameCube items out there. Nintendo regrets letting them use Mario as a character in that game, from what I've heard.
Yeah, Nintendo. I don't trust them to make their own choices
Oh,
or regret things smartly.
it's actually not that bad now. The bundle is only $75.
Oh wow.
Do you guys, and this is a little off topic, but do you guys have a problem with playing like old school Mario games like on a ROM?
Dude, not at all.
Okay.
Especially now
If-
with Nintendo's policy to like they're not good for what's the term? Like making historical games.
Yeah, like if they
Preservation?
sold me the game and I could pay them money to have access to the game on a system that like they would actually get, I would pay them and I wouldn't be down to pirate. But if you don't make your game available for purchase, the only option is either to pirate it or to buy it used, which is money either way. Like Nintendo sees the same profit if I buy a used game on Amazon or if I pirate the game. They're doing it to themselves and everyone would buy it. It's been shown so many times. If you release these games, people will buy them and they're still not doing it. It's their own fault. If they don't want the money, I love so many Nintendo games, but at the same time, man, Nintendo.
They're some of the easiest games to port to. Like those old Nintendo games are not complicated. And if just regular people are able to quickly put it on a computer and run it flawlessly, There's no reason they can't put that on the Switch. They'd be making a fortune because all these retro gamers would be jumping on there. Although I guess nowadays they do have the digital stores.
Yeah, but
for a
like
lot of stuff.
the Wii U and
But they don't even have
3DS had a great virtual console
Yeah.
library that was like insane. And so like I bought like the Pokemon games on there again, the original ones. And like it was insane just the virtual console they had. But then they took it away for Switch for some reason.
Rob, I
Yeah,
think
they
you're
wanted to
the
switch to the
only person-
Netflix model.
Rob, I think you're the only person I know who actually had a Wii U.
Yep, same for the most part. It was
I remember playing Smash Bros with you guys
yeah.
and being blown away by it because no one else had a Wii U to play the new Smash Bros on, so that was a treat.
I was definitely one of the 12 people that bought one. I enjoyed it. Like looking back, especially like for the virtual console, it's nice. You can just like, and it's very much like early Switch with the gamepad. Like, and just pop open a virtual console game and play it on the Wii U pad. That's nice, but yeah,
Right.
it's like I can see why it didn't sell, but I could definitely see like how it was a stepping stone for where the Switch is today.
Well, it was just a marketing failure too.
Yeah.
Like if they just done a better job marketing it, I don't know that it'd have been a smash hit, but like it'd have sold more.
Yeah, no one knew.
Well, everyone thought it was a Wii accessory.
Yeah,
No one knew
Yeah.
it was its own thing.
Big marketing failure at that point.
Mhm.
Like if people don't even know what the product is, you messed up.
all right. My gift.
Yeah, Rob, what's your number one gift?
So my number one gift, I kind of went with like the memory and excitement and like what it meant for me. I don't remember a lot of gifts. I don't know why, but like this one just stands out in my memory. And I was in elementary school, went to bed, wasn't expecting anything. There was like a few presents on the tree. The next morning I wake up though, and there's a bike under the tree. And for some reason, like my kid brain just couldn't comprehend that my mom could have like went out and like, or like hid it in the garage and like brought it in. So I was just like, how did she get this in here? Like, where did she hide it and all that? And it's just like a stupid kid brain where you're not thinking that this would have been easy to hide. But yeah, I loved biking as a kid. So for me, getting a new bike was the coolest thing ever and the most hyped I've been. Like I probably had the Ben Wyatt, like dumbstruck face walking into the living room that morning. And yeah, I loved it. Great time. Got me outside. So that's my favorite gift that really stands out in my memory.
Very cool. What color was it?
Isn't it?
Did you say?
It was red, a red bike. I think it had 3 speeds. So, I was cooking.
It's crazy to think how like biking was the best as a kid. Like you just felt so free rolling around in the neighborhood on your bike. And now if I have to bike somewhere, I'm just not going.
I still like biking.
Like I can't stand it. I'll walk all day long for pleasure, but I have no interest in getting on a bike.
Dude, I wish.
It's probably because I biked to so many jobs that it's just a bad
That's
memory.
fair. Yeah.
Yeah, that was fair.
My last bike I had stolen from me at college, and I'm still kind of upset about it.
Ooh.
It was something I could see you doing, Mike. It was, I think, just
Yeah, that was wild.
just the amount of effort, like they had to plan it because
Fired! Shots fired!
so it was like some I think I left it over like Thanksgiving break or something, like chained it up,
Ooh.
and it was on my second story balcony. And these mother effers climbed up there, like took pliers, broke the chain, and stole the bike and everything and ran off. And I'm like, oh my God, just the amount of effort you'd have to think and like you'd have to like crazy climb your way up there. Man, I was so mad.
I would like to apologize for my previous indignity. That does sound like something I would do. Like if I was going to steal a bike, like there'd be some level of pride where I would have to steal a bike off a balcony, not a ground floor bike. That's too easy. There's no fun.
Mhm.
There's no sport in that.
Did you guys ride bikes as kids? Like, what was the era you were allowed to ride?
Oh, yeah. So yeah, for me, I grew up in a pretty bad part of Detroit, so I only got to go for on my block, but it was a old tree that lifted up part of the sidewalk.
Oh,
You took it like a jump?
Oh, yeah.
I was on X Games mode as a child. I was killing it, so I had a really good time. So I remember that very fondly.
There's nothing like finding a good crack in the cement to just rip off. That was so much fun.
Especially if you had like some shocks. Like I remember my first bike that had actual like suspensions. Because without those, it'd just be like, boom, you just hit it hard. But like after that, you're just like, man, I could do these jumps all day.
Yeah, my joints now wish I'd known what shocks were then, but I had no idea, and my joints were good, so I just didn't. I was like, I'm a kid, I can do whatever I want. Nothing hurts, and I hate that little bastard now.
Yeah, for me, it was my subdivision, and then when I got older, I could ride a mile down to 7-Eleven and ride back. But it was my subdivision, and then once it started to get dark, I had to head home.
Yeah, I remember growing up, it slowly increased in distance that I was allowed to travel from the house. When I was really young, it was just as long as you can see the house and go that far, and then a couple blocks, and just the distance slowly grew as I got older.
I remember there was one time me and Jacob and Andrew were biking somewhere. I was over at their place. I think I was probably riding one of your parents' bikes, and I had my cell phone out, and I was starting to play music for while we were biking. I was fiddling with my phone in my right hand, and so I was holding the left handle and just instinctively braked because we were speeding up because we were going downhill. But I don't know what I was thinking, because left brake equals death, and we were going just fast enough that I threw myself off the bike, and I was able to like catch myself and land, but the bike did a full flip and the tire just bounced off the back of my head. Oof. And it hurt so bad. But at the same time, I was actively aware as it was bouncing off my cranium. Like, this has got to be, I don't know, maybe at most 20% of the total surface area of the bike is inflated rubber. And that's the part that hit me instead of solid aluminum. So, like, I was also kind of grateful. And then my head
At the time, you were grateful?
What'd you say?
At the time, you were grateful, like while this was happening to you.
Oh,
you
I was like, ow, this hurts, but also, wow, I got really lucky. That was the tire, not the handlebars.
Wow.
Or like a gear, you know? It could have been so much worse.
That was something you really had to just see.
Yeah, dude, I wish I could have.
Like, no way that could ever be replicated.
No, not a chance.
It looked like watching a cartoon in real life.
That's most of my life, dude, man.
The amount of times I fell off my bike as a kid and just got scraped up and walked home, there was a good amount.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's stitches once.
Okay. Oh, dang.
Yeah, I was riding and then only used the front brake on the bike, so I flipped over and bashed my chin up and had to go to the hospital and get stitches.
Oh. What's the worst? Is that the worst injury you ever got on a bike?
On a bike, yes.
All right. Everybody else, what's your worst bike injury?
I got gravel. I have I told this story yet about a girl with a bike?
I don't think so.
I don't think so.
The most damage I ever got on the bike was I fell, and it was like gravel and like glass, and it just like ate through my like leg. It was really rough.
Cool. Ground beef over there, you know.
Pretty much, yeah. It was a wild time, but it's a pretty good story though. I should tell it sometime.
For me, it was more damaged pride than actual damage physically. But Mike and I were at family camp together. We were at the BMX course when it was still the BMX course.
Ooh.
There was that giant hill you could go down and get some good air.
Yep.
And we were taking turns, and we were like in a group, because it was group time to give the parents a break. So we were with a group of people around our age. He'd done a few laps at that point, so I'm feeling comfortable. And I just booked it down this hill, going as fast as I can. And I got so much air and felt really proud of myself for about 2 seconds before wiping out and just shredding my pants open how I wiped out.
At least it wasn't skin.
That's true.
Yeah. So just whole half of my pants are just gone now.
Oh.
And just had to stand there in front of everyone. And I think you took the bike. Someone took the bike. The counselor just came up to me and he's like, why don't you just head back to the cabin and get a new pair of pants and come back when you're ready?
It's hard to come back from that one.
And I just kind
of hard to come back from that, huh?
I got to the cabin quickly and then kind of slowly processed everything. And I'm not sure if I actually went back or not. I was pretty embarrassed at that point.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's crazy how many injuries. I don't know why they thought a BMX course. I mean, obviously it'd be fun, but like the amount of injuries that happened on that course was insane.
Yeah, dude, my dad's shoulder is still not right. He separated it on that BMX course. And
I was going to say that.
my worst one was I mean, I didn't separate anything. I had a Batman and Robin bike. It was my first no training wheels bike, and I could ride it. I could ride that one to the end of the block and back. So you have the handlebars, and then you have the point where they connected to the rest of the bike, right? And there was a black rubber washer involved in there, and so it was just a black circle, and then there was a line where like they sealed the washer into a certain, like, I don't know, it was cut, they had to slide it in, and then they sealed it somehow, and so it looked kind of like a radar if you used your imagination, right? Circle, line, Batman bike, radar, it all worked. And so I was chasing some bad guy, and I was looking down at my radar, and I drove right into the neighbor's car. It was parked. But the bike came to a stop. I kept going full crotch fork. Just apparently it was loud enough that my dad heard the collision next door and was like, came outside to find me just like hobbling back, dragging the bike behind me. And I was legitimately pissing blood for the rest of the next 2 days.
Ooh. Yikes.
Yeah, that was like a top 5 just memorable childhood wipeout. That might be the number one. That one was brutal. Yeah, they bought me a humongous thing of vanilla ice cream and the VHS of the Robin's Reckoning Batman the Animated Series episodes.
It's not worth the hurt, but sometimes, those after hurt, yeah, they're solid.
Mm-hmm.
I think that was the only after hurt gift I ever got. Like, I had to be pissing blood to get a sympathy gift. Also, I got to imagine that I caused some kind of trouble for my dad driving that hard into the side of a neighbor's car. Like, that had to have done some damage. But
I'm sure you could just suction it out, like a dent out. Some people use a plunger, like some suction tool to pop out a dent.
Right. I think it might. I could be wrong. I don't think you're supposed to park blocking the driveway. I don't know if that's illegal or if it breaks an ordinance or what. But I would not have been surprised if my dad was like, "Hey man, my kid's hurt because you parked wrong," and turned it around on him. But yeah, no, it was I imagine that could have caused some tension. They were a family that cared about their vehicles too. Have we all gone for gifts?
Yep.
The final Christmas question is, what is your number one favorite Christmas tradition? Oh, and I'm next. For me, it was an extension of, I think it would be cheap to say my favorite Christmas tradition is getting together for Christmas, right? Like, obviously that can't be the answer. But after we would do the Christmas Eve service at church, we'd all go back to my dad's house, or my mom and dad's house. We would do presents with the immediate family, and we would have a sandwich bar. And the next door neighbors at the house we lived in when I was in high school were named Bill and Betty. And Mr. Bill was he was the coolest type of old dude. Like, he always had a joke. Like, one time he just we hung out with them because Bill had a bunch of chocolate beer that he was like, I want your dad to try this. And so they just invited themselves over to share this beer with my parents. When we took the ACTs, you would get a afternoon half day because the juniors would take the test in the morning, and then you'd go to school for the second half of the day. And there was just one random day he was driving back from something while I was walking to the bus stop for the afternoon half day. And he was like, "Get in, man. I'll take." He just gave me a lift to school. Bill was super cool. But Bill died at some point. He was old. And it was just Miss Betty in that big house. I mean, big for one person. It was a tri-level. It was nothing special. But for 5 Christmas Eves in a row, it snowed really hard. And so myself and my dad and my Uncle Paul, when he was living with us, we would all go out and we'd shovel our snow. And then we'd try and be real sneaky. And we'd try and shovel Miss Betty's snow. And she would always catch us and be like, "You got to come in and have hot chocolate." And none of us, we're all introverts. None of us actually wanted to do that. But how do you tell the widow next door, "No, we won't come spend time with you on Christmas Eve"?
Easy.
We have no one to spend time with you.
No, we got more snow to plow. Bam. Got you right there. You have to get the next neighbors over.
Yeah, we never thought of that. But it was I just loved that. I like shoveling snow. It's a weird thing about me. I find it so peaceful. And, Christmas Eve with my family, and we'd go and we'd shovel Miss Betty's snow. I freaking lived for that. And yeah, it really bummed me out when they moved to a neighborhood that didn't have sidewalks. 'Cause it's like, whose snow are we going to shovel when it doesn't snow in Christmas anymore?
I also love it. I love one of my favorite things to do for people is shovel their snow.
Right.
Because, I've always enjoyed it. So yeah, I definitely understand where you're going from.
That was how I made my money as a kid too. Was I would just go shovel drives and like there was
Didn't you have
one
your
time.
sister be like the spokesperson and then you would shovel?
So what it was after a while, I got old enough that people were looking to hire me because it's like, it's like a junior in high school. The cute factor's gone. So I'd bring my sister with me. We split the money 50-50, but I'd have her ask. And while she was asking, I'd already start. And so if they said no, she'd be like, they said no. And I'd just stop. I'd leave their snow half done.
I thought if you put the stuff back on.
Yeah, well, the thing is, that's more work. And I was all about efficiency, so just move to the next house. But so many people were like, how can you say no to the little girl? Plus, it's already like, this dude's flying through it. And yeah, there was one winter, Jacob and Andrew came over, and we all went out and we shoveled a few houses, and we all decided like, hey, let's go to Caesarland and blow all this money we made. And it was the funniest thing because Jacob, your mom got there, and my mom was telling her like, yeah, we went to Caesarland, and guess how the boys paid for Caesarland? And your mom gave you this death look, and she was like, did Jacob bring money? Like,
What?
I don't know. I have no idea what the dynamics behind it were, but she was so upset at the idea that Jacob just rolled in with like a roll of cash. It was like, we're going to Caesarland.
Jacob, did you steal money from your parents as a kid?
No, I'm trying to think why that would have been an issue.
Just pulls out a
I
wad, starts licking his fingers and like counting.
Yeah.
Like,
I remember going to Caesarland, Michael, but I don't remember that part.
Well, my mom saved you real quick. She was like, no. They went out and shoveled and made the money themselves. And so it was this really brief moment, but I just remember like, I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's because your parents make more money than my parents. And it was like one of those things where like people get weird about money. I don't know what it was, but there was just this moment where your mom was like, oh, Jacob. And then and your mom was like, no. Be proud of the boys. They worked for this.
I definitely wasn't like, she gave me a death stare.
Oh, she was so upset. I mean, it was super brief. It I don't even know if you were in the room for it.
Yeah,
like it might have been like.
Did she pick us up at Caesarland?
No. She picked us up at our house at she picked you guys up at my place, and my mom was just so excited to tell her how we all worked for this money, and your mom just like I don't know what it was. I was in high school. And it didn't even, I was just like, that was weird. But it just always stuck with me for some reason. Like, I don't know what it was. You'll have to ask her about it. She probably doesn't remember.
When I was a kid, I was constantly blowing my money on stupid crap that I didn't need.
I might have
like I bought like weekly comic books when I was a kid and collected all sorts of nerd merchandise that now has either been sold or lives in boxes. So like I wasn't a good saver of my earned money.
Yeah,
same. Whenever I had cash, there was a hole burning in my pocket. I just had to spend it.
Right?
Me as well.
So many Mountain Dews.
Thankfully, that's what my wife is for. Now we actually have some money in our savings, and if something bad happens, I won't be screwed.
I'm gonna have to ask about that. I'm really curious myself now.
Right?
Well, you see, I like I said, I burn a hole in my pocket, and my wife actually tells me to save it. So, thank you, Mike, for getting a laugh there.
Oh, okay. I thought that was a dog at first.
I didn't know if it was laugh or like you were hitting a guns.
It sounded like that was the craziest sound.
I have a mild head cold going on, and it was one of those like nostril laughs, which then just combined to make whatever that sound was. But no, I appreciated that. I love when I make a joke and only one person laughs at it. Like there's something about that to me that is almost more satisfying than bringing down the house. We were doing a raffle at work today, and I was in charge of the there was a little treasure chest that all the raffle tickets went in, and there were 3 people filling out their raffle tickets, and somebody went, "Oh, that's a really cute chest you have there," and I said, "Thank you. I've been doing a lot of push-ups lately," and just the dude got the joke.
and it made it better in my, like, he laughed so hard and everyone else just like looked at me confused. And I don't know. I like it more when the joke only hits for that one person. It's like, there you go. There you go. That's a special moment we have together. Christmas traditions. Who's next?
My favorite tradition is very similar to yours, Mike, and it is Christmas Eve evening. As a kid, just the anticipation of next day is Christmas was sometimes just as exciting as the actual day of. When you're a little kid, you're waiting for Santa, and my parents would do all sorts of little things, like they'd have bells going as we were getting ready, so we thought Santa was in the area, and just setting up the cookies and stuff. And we would always go to church beforehand. In my church, we did just candlelight and carols. So it was a really fun aesthetic, and we just sang Christmas music, and that was just an absolute blast. I loved all the Christmas carols. And then we'd go home, and we always got to eat some of the cookies the night before. And we would consistently read A Night Before Christmas, and then my dad would read the Christmas story from the Bible, and we'd end it with, you get to open one present early.
Classic.
And that was a blast. I don't know why, but at one point, Andrew and I had bunk beds, and one of us ended up waking up at like 2 a.m. right after like my parents had gone to bed. And we didn't know how to tell time at that point beyond like, I know what the clock says when it's getting closer to night and the numbers go up. So when they're early like that, that means it's morning. So we came in and woke up our parents at like 2:15 in the morning. Like, it's Christmas, guys! For some reason, they weren't excited about it.
I can picture your dad right now, and it's delightful.
But then growing up over the years, like, Christmas Eve has still been one of my favorite traditions with Christmas. Still, candlelight and carols continues to be a blast. Now I spend Christmas Eve every year with my wife's family. They have their own traditions where they do a very specific dinner, and it's very focused on just being grateful and spending time with your family and looking forward to your future hope. We get to go and talk to each member of the family and say, this is what I hope for you in the next year. These are all the great experiences I had this year. And it's just a really great time of fellowship and family mixed in with good food. So for me, favorite tradition is always going to be Christmas Eve.
Is that the 7 fishes?
Yeah, we do. Yeah.
The first time I ever heard about that was in The Bear. I don't know if you've ever seen that show, but it is, dude, the 7 fishes episode is one of the best episodes of television I've ever seen. But the family involved is unfathomably dysfunctional. And so it's really interesting to hear the perspective of 7 fishes from not a family that's trying to like kill each other.
It's a positive perspective.
Yeah, like when I hear 7 fishes, my blood pressure goes up. So like you were describing it, I was like, could this possibly be the same thing?
Yeah, dude, it's great. And it's just, like you said, it's kind of unfair to just say like spending time with the family. But like,
right. That's family. 7 fishes is like, that's a big established tradition. That is absolutely not something I'd push back on.
I would not be a fan of that, but I just can't take compliments well. So things like that.
Oh, yeah. No, it sounds like hell on earth to me. But for normally well-adjusted people, I'm sure it's great.
Yeah. You guys remember Teen Classic, how they would have the affirmations like you write on people's... I hated those. Oh, my gosh.
I forgot about that.
Like I said, I'm just not good at like taking compliments, so I just hated every moment of it.
Since you've been married,
I'm well-adjusted, and I'm kind of shocked. But thank you.
What do you say?
You are...
I was going to say, since you've been married, you've been taking compliments better.
I mean, it's different from your wife, like from your significant other. Like, I don't know. But like if my boss or someone gave me a compliment, like, thanks.
Is it a raise? No, I don't want it. You save those up until the compliments add up to a couple bucks.
There you go.
Talk.
That's what I'll talk about.
And then we could talk. Yeah.
Then I'll be fired.
Amen. So my favorite family tradition is cutting your Christmas tree the day after things. So pretty something that we've done since ever. I don't remember not doing it. I don't know, something about it was just always fun to me. So my family we would drive out an hour away to like these big tree farms, and we would spend hours looking through every single tree. And my dad always had this like parameter that he never shared with anybody, but he was always the final call person. And if it's pretty much like we're pretty much like everybody would find their tree, and then you would stand by that tree, and the family would go around, and then they would talk crap about how bad of a tree you would pick. And each tree you always have like a facing, like what like the side of the tree that people that would look at, and then the back of the tree. And so you would have to find the pretty side of the tree. You would have to get the right height. And then we would always pick different we would always pick different trees. So like I can't even remember anymore. Like blue spruce. It's like all these different types of trees. Some of them are softer and some of them are harder. And you would do that every year.
Ooh.
And I remember one year for some reason we were late, and it was already pretty much dark, and it was snowing. And we picked one where it just looked like somebody's house. Like they were working out of their garage. I don't know how late it was, but as a kid, it was like pitch dark. And we still did our family tradition. I just remember feeling a lot of peace. I love like snow. I love like snow, like in the dark. Just like, I don't know. It's just very, very calming. It's one of my favorite memories.
I'd never had a live tree. I always wanted one, but my mom just didn't want to deal with like the cleanup and everything. So I've only ever had artificial trees.
Yeah. The smell alone is crazy. It's such a good time. So I definitely recommend it.
Yeah, when my parents were still living in an apartment, they got a live tree. It was after Christmas. The tree was getting ready. Like the tree was starting to die. And she called the leasing office. And she was like, hey, where do you want me to dispose of the tree? And they said, oh, yeah, you're not allowed to have live trees. That's in your lease agreement. And she was like, okay, sure, but I have one. Where do you want me to put it? Like, I understand that I messed up. I got to get rid of this thing now, or otherwise it's going to be more of a fire hazard. So what do you want me to do?
I think your mom told me that story once, and the way she worded it is, I asked them, hey, now that Christmas is over, what do I do with my tree?
Ah.
And they said,
tell her to box it up?
Put it back in the box.
My favorite tradition is something I started with my wife. So it's only, one Christmas old, but I think it's my favorite mostly because it's something we started together, and it's not anything that I've heard other people do or anything like that. That is Christmas morning, waking up and then making some hard hot chocolate. So, you just take some Baileys, make a hot chocolate and add it in there, and then just like sitting and talking and like talking to each other and having a good time, and then opening presents. It's, obviously you can't do that every day because you got to go to work and all that and driving, but it's a fun thing that we've done, and I would highly recommend it. And spiked hot chocolate is dangerous. Like you could easily go overboard with that, but thankfully the one time we did it, that did not happen.
Dude, I love a boozy hot chocolate on a cold day. Mm-hmm. It's one of my favorite things.
It is the best.
It's pretty good.
Like that is hard to beat. Plus, it's like, where are you going? You're not leaving the apartment, So even if it's so easy to overdo it. If you make it good, you don't even notice it. But it's like, you have one too many. You're just sitting on the couch either way.
Okay, might make calls with family a little more interesting, but
in some cases more enjoyable.
Got to be extra jolly.
Right? I hear your mother-in-law's a real piece of work, so a couple extra shots of Bailey's could make that easier.
Don't get her started on Lord of the Rings. You'll be there all day.
That's true.
Close second though is kind of what Jacob was saying. Candlelight for Silent Night. The candle carols.
So funny. You want to know a fun fact?
You don't like that?
I hate candle lighting carols.
I like just that song. Like it's just the whole atmosphere.
I like that when I hear that song, I know candle lighting carols is almost over.
Mike, is it different for you because you've done so many worship leading gigs over the years?
I imagine that plays a part, but I have not cared for Christmas music since I was like 14, 15. Like there was just some point where I was like, I'm over this. It annoys me. Yeah, I just don't like it. It's all you do. Everybody's wearing sweaters, which until recently I was not a big sweater guy. All these people that I know well and who aren't that happy are all acting happy. And that bugs me. I'm just like, look, if you're sad, be sad and work on being happy all the time. Don't pretend to be happy because there's snow on the ground. I'm not a big Christmas guy. I'm working on it, trying harder. I have a daughter now. I'm trying to like Christmas for my daughter. It's a gradual thing. I'm getting there.
Next year, Michael will do more Christmas cocktails, and you'll have a better time.
That's true. That could be it. I'm a recovering Grinch. Is what it is.
I've started to craft some Christmas cocktails.
Do you meet Jolly at the next family party, Jacob?
Mike, do you want to tell the Christmas story?
Oh my gosh!
So
I would love to. Okay. So the thing about Jacob and I's shared family is that they are so unbelievably loud. There are lots of us, and rather than everyone going, hey, if we all talked at a normal volume, we'd have just as hard a time hearing each other, but Michael's not going to get a headache and want to just run into the cold and die. We all try to talk over each other, and it's still impossible to hear anybody. It's like, I'm so glad to see all of you. I can't hear a word anyone's saying, and my head is getting worse. And like, it is one of the only times the older I get, the more I understand anxiety. I didn't understand that I was experiencing anxiety every time we had Christmas with this side of the family because there was just so many people and not enough room, and it was so loud and anyway, Jacob and I turned 21. There were new coping mechanisms to be explored. And there was one Christmas where Jacob had several too many. And dude was feeling no pain, none whatsoever. And I could tell, but nobody else noticed. And like, it was just this thing where I wasn't going to ruin Christmas to be like, guys, Jacob's plastered. It was just something I was watching. It was like, you turn 21, you're learning your limits. Everyone's having a good time. Here, have a beer, blah, blah, blah. And like, you drank too many. It happens. We've all done it.
Speak for perspective. I had turned 21 2 months ago.
Yeah, like he's a novice. He's still learning.
And prior to turning 21, I was in the best shape of my life. I was running at least 10 miles a week. Like I was consistently working out. I was eating pretty well. And then I discovered beer. Slowly just lost my nice figure.
But
at this point, I hadn't experienced a hangover yet. I just knew that alcohol tasted pretty good the way I was having it, and it made me feel good.
Right. And I can't stress enough how stressful it is if you like have sensory, like if too much noise overloads you. It was so bad that our Uncle Dave, when he would show up and intentionally stay up until 4 a.m. and then sleep through half of like family Christmas because he needed the time to be alone. Like, we all love these people. We just need to get a bigger house and then soundproof the ceiling. Like, oh my goodness. It is a lot. There's just too many things happening. But the moment that made it truly spectacular for me, Jacob made a lot of jokes that were fantastic. I'm going around. We're heading out. I'm saying my goodbyes, and I walk down the stairs. Jacob's like halfway down the stairs. He's moving kind of slow. I pass him. I say goodbye to everybody else. I head back up the stairs, and he's still standing in the middle of the stairs. And I was like, "Hey man, I'm heading out. You good?" And he goes, "Yeah, I'm just taking a break here." I was like, "Okay, man. You have a great night. You clearly are." And I was having
that being a really fun party.
Yeah, it was a good one. But it was so funny because I went to dinner with my grandparents where I don't know how it came up, but Grandma goes, "You know who could play a really good young Santa Claus?" I was like, "No, I have no idea, Grandma. Tell me." And she goes, "Jacob. He was at Christmas and he had so much Christmas spirit and he had rosy cheeks and he was just so jolly." And I almost bit a hole in my tongue, not being like, "Grandma, he was sloshed."
Hey Jacob, where can the audience find you at?
Yeah.
First and foremost, the best place to find me is on my YouTube channel. Search Jacob Pisar. That's Piszar. You can also find me on Instagram, where I'm doing a great new series of AI images and really diving into and exploring all the incredible things we can create with that.
And that'll be in the description.
Yeah, go check him out. He's got some crazy cool animation stuff. He's been helping me out as I've been learning, and check out that series. He was showing me some of the stuff he's doing with the AI in Photoshop. It's wild. It's mind-boggling, the stuff you can do. Thanks so much for coming on, man. It was awesome to have you be a part of the show. And if you guys had as good a time as we had, give us a like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to hear any topics in the new year, let us know, and we would be super happy to cover them.
And next week we'll be talking about our top 5 experiences for this past year.
Ooh, I like it.
So we're doing that New Year's break, and then I'll back up to you, Lucian.
And until next week, keep the change, you filthy animals.
Merry Christmas.
Merry
It's
Christmas.
Crisis. Happy Chrysler.
Happy Festivus.